Hey everybody, it's Durger time. Thank you for joining me. You know what that means. Actually, I guess you don't know what that means yet, because this is the first inaugural episode. Welcome to All Elite Wrestling, a new era. We are doing it. We are finally... Well, actually, I guess we technically have done it before, but, you know, everyone's done it at this point, but we're doing an AEW save. So, one of the things about this save, and we'll kind of go through the preamble here, a lot of people have done this. A lot of TEW YouTubers have gone through and done All Elite Wrestling. It's kind of old hat at this point, and I kind of stayed away from it for a little bit. I kind of tested out the waters at one point and played around with it, but I kind of fell off of it. And one of the reasons why is that, well, I usually like booking things very differently and kind of making my own thing. So an existing company that, you know, is running parallel, I'm not that interested in unless I make it wildly different. And I usually do things wildly different because I'm dissatisfied with the booking. And I'm not really dissatisfied with AEW's booking. For the most part, it's really good. I enjoy the show. It's my primary wrestling show that I watch, and it's one that I enjoy immensely. So to book it is kind of irrelevant because I feel like they're kind of doing the things that I would want them to do. But there's ways that we can do it that make it interesting. And I think we're going to find that this save is going to wildly depart from where AEW is going, maybe against our will. And the reason why is because this is not just a regular creative fiction booking save. It's not just a regular old fantasy booking save. It's definitely part of that. And so if you like the storytelling aspect of this channel, you're definitely going to appreciate this because we're going to go hard on that as well. But we're bringing in some old mechanics, some interesting wrinkles into the mix. Now, the first wrinkle is that we are not playing the owner of AEW. We are playing the new head booker, Cody Rhodes. And Cody Rhodes is going to play differently, let's say. You know, we're going to book... I'm not going to say that I'm going to necessarily book like him, but we're definitely going to have a little bit of a mindset of, like, how would Cody book this? That kind of thing. For the most part, it's going to be mostly my creative focus, but every once in a while, there will be times where maybe Cody's ego comes in, or some creative decisions come in. But it also means that we have owner goals that are set up by the game that we're going to have to deal with, and there's going to be certain restrictions that we're going to have to play with. In addition to that, though, there are going to be objectives. Now, the objective system in this game that we are doing is kind of interesting. So, on the right-hand side of the screen, you're now going to see these little poker chips, a stack of chips, right? Because obviously AEW is always casino-themed for some reason. So, these are momentum chips. Each represents a certain amount of momentum, and we gain and lose momentum based on going above or below the averages of our shows, based on, like, I think 3 or 5 points. We haven't figured it out yet. We'll figure it out later. And missing owner goals, but also we're going to have these objectives that are going to show up at the bottom of the screen. Now, the objectives are going to be randomly decided. We're going to start with 2 random objectives and 1 major objective. If we ever lose a stack of these chips, we gain 1 more minor objective because TNT and Tony Khan is losing faith in us, and we need to get a higher, you know, like more momentum back. So we got to get more of these objectives. Now, these objectives can hurt us or help us. They're kind of all in between, and that's because we are bringing back the wheel. So the Wheel of Khan that you can see here on your screen is a ever-expanding objective wheel of these minor objectives that are going to help us or hurt us based on what we select. So very cool. We're bringing it back from our Wednesday Night War save. Now, in addition to the 2 starting ones we're going to pick here, we do have 1 major objective that I've chosen already, which is that one of the 4 pillars of AEW, which is the young talent that the company will in the future be focused on, that's MJF, Jungle Boy, Sammy Guevara, or Darby Allin, must be viewed as a major star in 6 months. If we lose that, we lose 10 momentum chips, which is not good. So we have 6 months to bring them all up to major stardom. The easiest would probably be Darby Allin, but we don't know yet for sure. And we need 2 minor objectives to spin the wheel. So let's go ahead and let's spin it, and let's see what we get. All right, our first objective is breakup. We have 3 months to complete this. We'll get or lose 5 points if we fail to accomplish that. We need to shake up the tag team scene. Pick a tag team and book a breakup feud that gets at least 60 heat. So that's going to be definitely a difficult one, but that is doable, I think. Let's go ahead and spin the wheel again. All right, familiar face. This should be pretty easy too. We have another 3 months to accomplish this at 5 points. Hire a free agent and Actually, it's going to be a little bit harder than I thought. Hire a free agent that used to be with WWE. So they have to have had a career there and get them in a feud with at least 55 heat. That's not necessarily impossible because they're hemorrhaging workers, but it might be difficult because they're going to be hot commodities. So if they're not available, if there's nobody that's out there, we might have to get somebody that we really don't want and then try to push them. Or we can get really lucky and grab somebody that's really good, and we would want them anyways. So both of these are not horrible. So like I said, help or hurt. But this is going to modify our booking of this game. And that's what this game's all going to be about, is kind of balancing that flow. Because really here, what we're going to see is can we manage that ever-growing momentum of AEW? Like, will it rise from the tides and then end up taking over the wrestling scene, or kind of crash on the waves and just come tumbling down? I'm excited for this as an objective-based series, but I'm also excited about some of the storytelling that we can do in it. So I think very cool. Now, let's go ahead and talk about some of the modifications that we've done real quick. So, first is, and we've not done a lot, but really the main one here, I should say, is I've gotten rid of Dark, and I only have Dark Elevation. As of right now, I think I'm going to book Dark Elevation off camera and just give you guys the results. I'm also not opposed to actually turning AEW Dark into its own child company, to let them run their own sort of development, which seems like it might be something they may go into in the future. I don't know. But it could be an interesting avenue to branch off and alleviate some of the burden of the booking, because it's a lot to book, because we are going to, every episode, do a Rampage from the Friday night and then the Dynamite as a main event. And then also having to book a Dark in between to build up people and test out, feuds and test out things. So it was a lot to book. It's like basically equivalent of a 3-hour booking show, with a lot of simming in between. That's not what we're here for, though. While we do have some of those to book, we're not going to book those today. I'm going to go ahead and do that off camera, because this episode, now I'm filming this like 2 weeks before. I have 4 shows in between filming this and when All Out comes out. But we are starting with All Out, because that's really the beginning of the new era of AEW, the changing tides. So there are some darks and Dynamites and Rampage. Well, actually, one Dynamite, one Rampage in between these, but we are going to go through those off camera, really not doing anything with them. We're really here to book All Out. I'm very excited and very scared to do this, because I'm booking this so far out that there's only been like 4 matches confirmed. So things could wildly depart from where this could to go into. So we will have to see where exactly this leads us. But I'm going to book it based on how I think some things are going to go. But the card isn't even fully finalized yet when I'm booking this. So who knows on the next Wednesday what happens. But we don't even know yet who is going to be the final opponents for the Young Bucks. It's either going to be Pentagon and Rey Fenix or Jurassic Express. I'm leaning towards probably it's going to be Penta and the Lucha Brothers based on some other things that are happening, but we will see. So you're guys gonna have a great window when this actually comes out to be like, wow, he got it so wrong. Anyways, I gotta go sim some Dark Elevation. We'll get that done, and then we will be back for All Out, and let's see what ends up coming from it. All right, guys, we are here ready for All Out. We simmed the week. We did some booking just to get a baseline. Because here's the other thing that we were talking about. We got to do our momentum is going to involve our show rating too. So if we underperform an average or overperform an average, we're going to get penalized. Same thing for broadcasting. So we haven't finalized that part of it yet, but what we're going to do is we're going to basically average out like a month's worth of Dynamites and Rampage. And at that point, we're going to get penalized based on how well they perform, in addition to all the regular performance issues. So that momentum down at the bottom could slowly or very quickly depreciate, or we can gain it back. If we ever get to 0, it's bad news. It's not game over, it's something worse. So we really don't want to get there. So, as you guys give me your ideas for these objectives, be nice, be kind to me, because I'm going to add pretty much everything as long as it makes sense. We might modify and tweak it. And I just want a lot of different ideas on it. Now, what happened in that last week? Well, we got some mail. Not much here. Cesar Bononi changed his wrestling style. Chavo Guerrero's getting a contract offer from Progress. Jerry Lynn says Chris Statlander is money. Strap a rocket to that kid. Tommy End and Thea Trinidad, Selena Vega divorced. I guess he was a little upset that she went back to WWE. And we have our new owner goals, which we'll get to in a second. Paul White says Abaddon is charismatic. I can see that kid going well in the future. And then Isaiah Cassidy just needs some time to heal. So what's our new owner goals? Because in addition to our own objectives that are going to cause us problems, we do still have, because we are a booker, Tony Khan can kick us out. We can, and this save could end from failing these own personal objectives or these owner objectives. So usually these are not too bad. AEW cannot fall into debt at any point. Well, okay. We have a year of not falling into debt. That should not be too difficult. Bryan Danielson must be kept above 71 popularity in the U.S. Spoilers, Daniel Bryan is in the company. That is a 2-year goal. Basically, we can never depreciate Daniel Bryan's popularity. You cannot hire or extend a contract to anybody that is known to regularly have a problem with law enforcement agencies. So that's interesting. Does that mean I can't get... That might change some booking plans. I don't know if we can have MDK all day. I don't know. Is he reformed? Is Nick Gage reformed? I don't know. And then you can't hire any wrestler whose class is having an impactful style. That's interesting. So those are your... Now, we could forego those, but risk having his patience in us get hurt. So that's sort of the rub with playing as a booker versus an owner, is that we're a little restricted on that. So that could be a problem, right? So we'll have to see here. Now we did do 2 shows, mostly because I want to get that baseline that we were talking about, right? So instead of just simming it, I did write them up. I'll show it to you, but really it doesn't matter that much. We're here for All Out. But let's go ahead and let's take a look at what happened on these shows. I'm very curious to see what these look like, because when I'm recording this, we still have not gone to we still have like 2 Dynamites to go, 2 Rampages to go. Tonight is Dynamite, actually, so I'm kind of curious to see where it is. But we did a Dark Elevation. It did very poorly. We did a Dynamite, playing off of that storyline with Brock Anderson having a fight with Malachi Black. Kim obviously getting defeated, Dustin coming out to make a save. So we're building up Dustin Rhodes versus Malachi Black for All Out. I mean, nothing too crazy, but this did a 58. Main event, a Rampage did much better at 68. Punk coming out to talk about Darby Allin's challenge. It's face versus face. FTR and Proud and Powerful having a side-by-side interview, which I'm assuming where it's going to go. Jericho says that he wants one more match, and if he can't beat MJF, he will retire. Definitely feels like it's a Dory Funk style storyline, so that seems like it makes sense. Eddie and Miro are going to have a fight at All Out, so we kind of build up that. And Lucha Bros do win over Jurassic Express and will face the Bucks in a cage. So a whole bunch of little things. That 68 is much better than the 58. Jade Cargill really screwed us up there pretty bad. But that is sort of the weirdness of Dynamite and AEW, is that there's some really, really great talent, but that undercard sucks. So, that's a problem. Now, we have All Out to book. We have a bunch of storylines set up. Some of these will end here. Many will not, and we will continue on these different interesting storylines. So let's go ahead and get on with it here. We'll get to All Out and see where the new era takes us. Now, we are booked in the Great Lakes. We do have to set up, why is TNT a potential broadcaster for that? I do not know. It should be BR Live for the States, Fight for everything else. What's In Demand? I don't know why In Demand is also a thing. I don't think we can do that. Can we? I don't think we can have all of them. TNT would not. MrHz show footage on their own broadcast, 55%. So this is weird because I think BR Live. Oh, it's a cable-based pay-per-view, internet-based pay-per-view. Okay, that's why. So one's cable and one's that. We want all 3 of those. We don't want TNT as our broadcaster. So we will save the selection. Perfect. We do have some backstage incidents. Emi Sakurai and Riho have an issue. No, just passing on tips to protege. Very good. We will meddle. And like to build a relationship between the people that are working together. So we could try to do this. Does not work. That's fine. We are in the Now Arena, though we are going to sell out. There was 21,000 expected fans, and this can only hold 11,000. So something that we will have to worry about in the future. I feel like All Out should always be in the Now Arena, because that's just sort of, that's what it is. That's the company, right? That's the origin and genesis point. It feels like they would always be there regardless of their potential capacity. Other places they can move out on, but that would be where they're going to be. All right. So we are set up. We are ready to go. We have a lot to book here. Again, this is going to be interesting because you're going to be watching this, I think, Friday. So it's going to be a couple more days before All Out. So you guys are going to have a better idea of what the hell this show looks like than I do right now. So I'm kind of curious where this goes, what the hell this looks like. But let's go ahead and let's book to the best of our ability here. It's going to be a lot, like 11 matches, including the pre-show, one of which is the Casino Battle Royale, which we can't really do. There's no way to do 21 participants, so it'll be 20. But should be some fun surprises and returns in there. Let's go ahead and let's book it. Let's have some fun. Okay, guys, we are ready. We got a full 225 minutes plus 2 pre-show matches. I feel like I'm missing something, but I don't know what it is. But again, I have no idea what this show is really going to look like by the end of this. So this is going to be an interesting time capsule to see how this goes. But let's go ahead and let's get on with All Out in the beginning of the new era. With the pre-show, we have Brian Cage versus Ricky Starks. In this, Brian Cage does defeat Ricky Starks with pinfall. We had Powerhouse Hobbs kind of leading to the cause of the finish here as he accidentally hits Starks. I'm just going to provide a little bit of tension maybe within Team Taz. Maybe Ricky Starks goes his own way. We don't know. Brian Cage is currently a face, so I feel like this win legitimizes maybe another challenge for the FTW Championship or something like that. Gets the show off to a pretty okay start. Brian Cage should not still be managed by Taz, so that's a little off there, and I think that kind of hurt us. We'll have to make sure to fix that. We have the Casino Battle Royal, with some surprise entrances, some just one, I think, irregular. A few returning faces here. But we have Abaddon, Cassie Lee, and Jessie McKay, who have a new tag team name, I believe. I have to look it up, but the Iconics, essentially, debuting in AEW. Emi Sakurai showing back up as a irregular. Kylan King, Kylie Ray re-debuting for AEW. We're going to try to make a push for her as long as she can stay. Leva Bates, Layla Hirsch, and Maki Ito re-debuting in AEW. Mickey James as a like a special feature kind of thing. Penelope Ford, Red Velvet, Ruby Soho, who's not shown on here, making her debut as the Joker. Serena Deeb, Tay Conti, The Bunny, Thunder Rosa, Yuka Sakurai. Yuka Sakazawa, I should say. Essentially, pretty much the entire women's roster in this, with a few faces in between. It's 48. It's not horrible, actually. It didn't have much heat. According to this, though, it had terrible wrestling. We got some pretty good gimmicks here, kind of faced out here. So, Cassie Lee, Jess McKay got very good, very great for their annoying gimmick. Kali Ray got a fun baby face. Only got adequate, which seems shocking. Maki Ito got great. Mickie James, great. Ruby Soho, awful for her weird punky alt girl gimmick. Unfortunate. May have to help rebrand her at some point. Maki Ito getting a huge groundswell of support. Overall, doing okay. 48's not bad for a pre-show match. I'm totally fine with that. Afterwards, we just say that, hey, Ruby Soho debuts as the Joker, and she does win the Battle Royal, so she will be facing Britt Baker and her as a next challenger for the title. Or, I guess Chris Statlander wins. She won't. Spoilers. But, a good intermediary to fight as a challenge on a random Dynamite, I think, to build that up, versus as a new debut, as we wait for Thunder Rosa to probably eventually take the belt from Britt Baker. This gets a 25 for overness. She's not very over, but this is on the pre-show, so it doesn't really matter. We debut the show. I don't know how the actual show is going to be broken down, but Paul White gets a big pop as he enters for the beginning of the show. We're going to have him as a work the crowd match because it's going to be very simple, not a lot of bells and whistles here. It's going to be a very easy, fun match. He's fighting QT Marshall. It does pretty okay. Actually, it should have been work the crowd. I don't think it was. Paul White defeats QT Marshall in 5 minutes. It's real quick. Paul has limited mobility. He can't really do much. We let him do his thing. QT gets decimated. Paul White looked good. After the fact, though, we use Paul White's momentum to bring back Anthony Ogogo. After QT's on the ground, Paul White's kind of waving the fans and kind of glowing in the momentum that he's got. Anthony Ogogo returns, squares off with Paul White. Paul White kind of smiles at him as he's looking all the way down at him. Anthony Ogogo, though, wants to bring him down to meet him face to face, and through a series of swift kicks, gets the bad leg of Paul White down, so he has to be on his knees, and then Gogo smiles as he does that sort of kidney punch, which, draws blood from Paul White. Paul White's on the ground groaning. QT Marshall's in the corner grinning. And we return to Gogo. This loses some heat. Needed a little more star power in its segment to be successful to have Anthony Gogo fighting for that long. It didn't go that long. But Anthony Gogo is very green, but we're going to try to build him like a monster, probably on Dark, and see if we can build something there. Just gets a 44, though. It's not too bad. After that, we get a bigger pop here as Tony Schiavone comes out and says that, tonight's all about surprises as we enter the new era AEW. And that's why I'm very happy to introduce you to our brand new signing, because we just keep on getting better and better. I want to introduce you to the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson. Bryan Danielson comes out, waves, the crowd's freaking out. Tony Schiavone says, we know everyone wants to hear more from you, but we're going to have to wait a little bit later for an interview with Mark Henry. Bryan Danielson just says, happy to be here, that kind of thing. Fun baby face. Everyone's yes, yes, yes chanting. Bryan Danielson, considered the greatest wrestler of all time. Don't know how that will pair up against the best in the world. We will see. But got the crowd hotter. Good. Even though this was a little underperformed, but still very good. Jon Moxley, I don't know where this is going to be by the time we get there, but I don't think Tanahashi's actually going to end up showing up for AEW looks like he has to go back to quarantine, so I don't know who they're going to bring. I think Ishii's in America right now for a show, so I kind of went with him, but I would not be shocked if New Japan just throws out just some random old person like they've been doing with AEW, just somebody that's like 50. Suzuki would have been cool, but I feel like I don't see it. So I said Ishii would be a fun fight for Moxley. It's a a wild brawl. It does very well. Moxley has a 50 or a 74. Ishii has a 50. We continue the storyline of Jon Moxley hating outsiders, and he's turning heel here. He's definitely doing a little more heel work in this match. He seems like he's got a chip on his shoulder, and we learn a little bit about that after this, after he pins and defeats Ishii. It's a 12-minute, just a quick match. It's fun. After the fact, though, he grabs a microphone, sweating and panting, and just is real pissed off. And in his rant, he just goes, "So I just went toe-to-toe with the pit bull of New Japan. Yeah, that's great. That's a tough challenge. And I came out ahead. But that wasn't what I asked for, New Japan. Avoiding what I want. Tanahashi. But we'll table that for now. We'll come back to it. You see, this is the problem here. There's all these hot new signings. New toys in the toolbox. From Impact, from the NWA, from New Japan. And where is the guy that helped build this company from day one? On the bottom half of this show. What's on the top? Some part-timers. Some lapsed wrestlers. Some people who shouldn't be wrestling anymore unless they get one more concussion too many. An EVP of the company. Just things need to change. The people in the back, the people in the locker room, they need to be put on notice that I'm not going to sit around and be disrespected. Not by New Japan, not by Tony Khan, and not by any Stanford rejects that come in trying to take away the spotlight from people that were here from day one. He throws his microphone. We're getting that sort of, again, that heel-ness coming in here. Seems like Moxley's upset that his place on the card, his position, he's feeling, unrespected, and that's a dangerous spot for Moxley to be in. Next match is FTR versus Proud and Powerful. Seems like this is the right spot for the rematch here. Hopefully FTR is fine. I don't know. On Twitter, they keep on seeming like they're alluding like they're going to break up. I give Proud and Powerful a win here. Defeat FTR because of FTR's injury. I'm not really sure where to go with FTR, but I would like to do something more with them. But I think the loss here and maybe a rebound and doing something different with them will be a little more interesting. Proud and Powerful need a good win, need a good build up of momentum to become challengers for the tag team championship. They deserve it. I think this is a good opportunity during their babyface run to kind of build them up here. In 12 minutes, they defeat them. Santana gets Dax Harwood in the street sweeper. Probably should have been Cash, because Cash is the one that's injured, but that's fine. I didn't book it that way. We continue the Last Ride storyline. This is a very good match, though. After that, we have MJF versus Chris Jericho. If Chris Jericho loses this, he retires. I don't see himself retiring, so we have him finally defeat MJF. Again, this is a very Dory Funk-esque 70s, Deep South style match where MJF beat him 3 times, Jericho not once. Jericho finally gets over after being able to use his move. Actually, in this, he gets a submission with the walls of Jericho. Should have been the Judas Effect. They should have done, made sure to do a pinfall finish instead. 62 for MJF, 75 for Chris Jericho. Jericho seeming a little off his game, still gets us a 71, though. There's no way we're retiring him in the game. I don't know if what he does in real life. I'm assuming this match happens at All Out, unless I'm totally wrong. But I don't see him retiring, and we definitely aren't going to retire him with an in-ring performance like that. We need him to continue to put over new stars, but in order to do that, he needs credibility. MJF needs to lose here. Afterwards, we have some of the reasons why it happened. And to try to protect MJF a little bit, Wardlow tries to throw him the ring in the match. It gets intercepted as Sammy Guevara shows up out of nowhere and literally catches it with a baseball slide across the apron. He flips off and tackles Wardlow. They fight out there. MJF is distracted by this, looking at what the hell just happened, and then turns around and get Judas Effect right in the face. So it's a little bit of a tainted one. It's more MJF lost this for himself than necessarily Chris Jericho winning, which is, I think, an important distinction here. And I guess he then gets him into Walls of Jericho to double it up, because that's how that match went. We do lose heat for this segment, unfortunately. It gets us a 61. MJF came out looking excellent and was superb in his mannerisms, as we would expect. But he gets a little comeuppance here. Orange Cassidy versus Miro feels like it's happening. I don't know. It's like the worst feud in AEW, but I kind of had to do it. It's a comedy match. Just cool things down a little bit. Does very well at the 69. Orange Cassidy defeats Matt Hardy in 6 minutes. Gets a super kick in. Orange Cassidy has a 73. Matt Hardy has a 57. It gave the crowd a breather in between those matches a little bit. Yeah, there's nothing to say about this here. We just put it here because it's probably going to happen. Now, very quick match. Malachi Black comes out to face Dustin Rhodes. He's been kind of going through the Rhodes family here. He's told Cody that he gets to decide when he retires. We're going to hear a little bit more from Black in the next episode from how I want to book him. This match goes to a stoppage after Dustin Rhodes is hit with the Black Mass, gets picked up by the foot by Black to lift him up, and hits him again, and the ref goes over, and because Black looks like he's going to do it again, and ref calls it off, saying he's unconscious. Black then continues to attack him post-match deliberately. It's just a 48. It's not much to say about it, but it is what it is. That leads to Cody Rhodes coming back out, still injured, to try to defend Dustin. The two square off. Malachi Black smiles at him. This was the whole plan the entire time. He gives him another Black Mass, and Cody goes down as well. So building up, again, that feud a little bit. Cody came across well. Lack of interesting things happening in the storyline was a bit of a problem. I think Malachi was in a menace and Cody was in acting or something, but I think it just went too long. Backstage, we have Andrade in the locker room with Pentagon and Rey Fenix. How odd. Pentagon and them are talking together. Andrade's kind of giving them tips on their upcoming steel cage match with the Lucha Brothers. Give them tips, some strategies. We get to the end of it. Pac storms into the locker room, just immediately pointing at Andrade, furious, and asking them, "What the hell are you doing in here?" to Andrade. But also looking at Pentagon and Rey Fenix, a little upset they even let him in. Andrade has been trying to court the Lucha Brothers for a while. Andrade smiles. This is clearly what he wanted, the reaction. He goes, "Easy there, comrade. Don't worry. I just wanted to check in on our mutual friends and make sure they have a winning strategy against the Young Bucks. Something you should have been doing as their leader, no?" Andrade smiles coyly and then gives him a condescending little slap on the chest as he walks past. "See you later." Andrade is in Pac's head. He's been trying to dismantle the Death Triangle and trying to get Pentagon and Phoenix on his side. This does very well. The match is superb as a steel cage lowers. We have Lucha Brothers versus Young Bucks for the titles. Young Bucks, nowhere to go, no interference possible. And even though we have some attempted distraction, Doc Gallows accidentally hits Nick through the cage. And the combination of that, it's a very quick match, it's about 10 minutes, but it's a fiery one. Lucha Brothers do win the AEW World Tag Team titles. It seems like it makes the most sense. You don't put the heels in a cage unless you're going to have them lose, I think, personally. because obviously they've been using their numbers advantage to win. They're a little lazy now, so they don't have as much of an advantage. And the Lucha Brothers now have that momentum going in. They capitalize on it. They become our new tag team champions. It's a fantastic match, even though Pentagon apparently was off his game. Gets us a 70. Great chemistry, great everything, really. Got the crowd buzzing. We need to bring them down a little bit. I don't know if I have a match to bring them down, but we will see. Afterwards, we just have the, crowd reacting to them winning, very excited. And after that, as the steel cage has to be dismantled and lifted back up, we take that opportunity to have Mark Henry interview the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, who is shown back up. Let's talk about how, some people say he's the best in the world. We already have someone who's best in the world. How do you feel about being the greatest of all time of wrestling and coming to AEW? And before Danielson can even really say anything, he's attacked brutally from behind. A bitter Jon Moxley has snapped and taken this opportunity to break up the interview, and he brutally attacks Danielson. Bryanson. Jeez, I'm going to keep on calling him Daniel Bryan. I know I'm going to. It's been so long. He hits him in the back of the head before he can really do anything or change anything. He's starting pummeling them. He has that barbed wire baseball bat, which he uses on the gut of Bryan repeatedly. Just really leveled him out, and then he stomps off as the crowd boos, absolutely enraged. They didn't get a chance to hear a fan favorite speak on his debut night. And yes, we want to officially turn Moxley heel. He's gone down the route of no return here, and is clearly absolutely snapped. We have now Eddie Kingston versus Miro. I would love Eddie Kingston to win this, which I'm assuming is going to be on All Out. If it's on Dynamite, I think it's a mistake, but I don't see it yet. But Miro defeats Eddie Kingston after a foreign object is thrown into the ring. Now, there was supposed to be a different chain of events, but we couldn't get a signing done in time, unfortunately. But Lana, CJ Perry, was supposed to show up. We still have her in kayfabe in the ring, or in the fan seating. So we'll do that afterwards. But Miro gets taken to the limit by Eddie Kingston. Eddie Kingston is just too damn tough, and it's a brutal, just brawling match. And Miro looks, on the ropes at times, as Kingston actually is able to fend him off until something is thrown in the ring to level him out, and Miro retains. We're going to continue with this storyline. I think a Kingston-Miro feud sounds great. Personally, I would love to put the TNT title on Kingston. I think that would be a fun change, but I think it's not the right time yet. Eddie brings Miro to that limit, and then we have interference from CJ Perry in the ring, throwing the foreign object of some sort out there to help Miro, and then Miro celebrates his win as though he got it clean. Little cracks in the Redeemer here. Clearly, when facing smaller opponents, he dominates, but maybe he bit off a little bit more than he can chew with Kingston here. He gets a 64. We got Britt Baker versus Chris Statlander. This is a short match, but it's decent. Britt Baker defeats Statlander by submission, makes defense number 1 in here of the women's title. I don't see Statlander winning this, but I think it's probably going to be a pretty fun match. Like I said, I think Britt Baker's got to get taken out by Thunder Rosa. Makes the most sense. She's got a groundswell of support, though. This does decent for what we needed to be. It was a storytelling match, so it should have cooled the crowd down a little bit. This match is a little bit underwhelming here. Oh, Brandon Cutler was doing road agent work. We gotta fix that. This was supposed to be a technical match, but I guess the crowd didn't simmer down like we wanted it to. Both of them are very strong technical wrestlers. But even though Pac is a very flashy high spots person. Like, he actually can really do a good technical match too, which is what I wanted here. I wanted to play on Andrade's technical abilities as well and really have Pac do something different. Unfortunately, the placing the crowd, I maybe should have set the women's match more as a cool down than just storytelling, but yeah, c'est la vie, right? So it's a good heat. It's decent wrestling. It's still a good match. It just could have been better. Andrade does defeat Pac in 14 minutes, and afterwards, Pentagon and Rey Fenix come out, and they pick up Pac, who looks dismayed from his loss, but then super kick him and then do the package pile driver. They attack Pac. The Death Triangle is no more. Andrade has won and taken with him the spoils of the war, which is the leadership of the new tag team champions, as Idolo goes for his own quest for gold, I'm sure, afterwards. Good match. Very good outcome. Rey Fenix was a little underwhelming in this segment. They get a pretty good outcome to this. I think this is where it's going. Gonna try to build up, I think, like almost like a four Latino horsemen kind of thing with them. So I gotta kind of find one more person that kind of fits that group. In our semi-main event, this is the controversial one. I hear a lot of people online, what's going to go on last? I'm sorry. It's just true. I don't care if it hurts the ratings. Your world title goes on last, unless there's an unsanctioned match, because then technically the show's over. Punk versus Darby, co-main event. Punk comes out in a special entrance. People singing Cult Personality. It's electric. It's just, everything you would expect. The lack of anything interesting in this segment was a problem. Oh well, I think CM Punk coming out is interesting. The match itself, it's not bad. Darby is probably the weakest link here. But CM Punk's strength is really his microphone work, and that's fine. This will probably be better than the main event, I would imagine, because I don't think Christian's going to get that high of a score. But it had fantastic heat, and it's decent wrestling. Darby can't go over on CM Punk's return. Punk needs to be protected. He hasn't been back in 7 years. It's a big mistake to have Darby going over. I know Punk probably would want Darby to go over. It's not his time. The rub is in the fight. Darby gets defeated in 17 minutes. Go to sleep. Our first go to sleep in an AEW arena. Gets a huge pop. They don't click at all, and it showed in their performance, and that's very unfortunate. That's a damn shame. We lose a little bit of heat from this match, but we'll gain that back up. And CM Punk gets his first win in AEW. After the fact, we get a huge rating boost here, a segment boost. Afterwards, Darby looks dismayed. CM Punk grabs a microphone, kind of talks him up a little bit. Talks about being best in the world and how, what a crazy challenge that was and how close Darby came. And he says, I can't wait to have this match again in a year, because I think you'll even be even better. Helps him up, hug it out. There are two faces, so it just works. Punk raises Allen's hand and kind of points to him, lets him go in the ring. Does very good. Sting ringside doing his little thing over there, and Darby and them both performing well off script in their own emotions, and this goes to 83. It's pretty good. Our main event, actually, didn't expect that. Christian Cage can apparently still go. Kenny Omega versus Christian Cage for the world title. Kenny Omega defeats Christian Cage in pinfall. One winged angel after 20 minutes. We had Don Callis also coming in to distract Christian a little bit. Kenny had a 78. Christian Cage has a 67. Match got the crowd buzzing, which is perfect. Kenny is still our champion, leaving All Out as we begin the new era. Very good show, 69. Fairly solid. We have some of these penalties here with limited numbers of viewers and restrictions. It is what it is. Let us go ahead and give the rub to everybody. I think we need to fix the situation with Ruby Soho. Let's give her a hug. We need to, I think, Darby, tell them he is awesome. And MJF pointed out as a good example. We'll make this speech. That should give them all a little bit of a bonus. All right. Here comes his contract negotiations. Yeah, I needed you a day ago. We got Jamie Hayter back in. We got CJ Perry back in. Ric Flair is being a problem. We'll see if we can get him in. Tomohiro Ishii is gone from his loan. Kenny Omega says Emi Sakurai does not connect with the fans. Our viewing figures were 321,000. Pay-per-view buy rate was 0.64. And then Pentagon and Kenny are feeling it rough, which will be fine. We can pull them off a show or two to have them heal up a little bit. All Out report probably is that it was great. Yes, it was. Overall, very strong show. So the next episode will be a shorter one. We're just going to do Dynamite. Then the episode after that, the sort of the cadence will be a Rampage and a Dynamite on each episode, and hopefully a special pay-per-view episode like we did with this one. We still have to worry about these objectives at the bottom of the screen, but we have a little bit of time to worry about them before we lose momentum. So we can start to plan ahead. But what I need from you guys, besides subscribing to the channel and notifying yourself with the notification bell when these do go live, because I do want to get to 2,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and I like to do it sooner than later, so if you guys could, it'd be so great. But what I really need from you, join our Discord, where there'll be a separate channel for ideas and suggestions for our objectives for the Wheel of Khan, and add those to the comments section as well, so that I can add them in, so we have a nice plethora of objectives to go through. They can go from one day, like the next show, to 1 week, to like a month is what we're looking for, or 3 months, I should say. So we have that kind of balance for what we want to do, and it should be like hurt and heal. Don't always do something that's going to hurt me. Do something that might be nice too. It's going to make an interesting challenge for the booking process. So if you guys liked it, please share it with your friends, add stuff to the comments so I know what feedback you have for me. But I'm very excited about this save. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I can't wait to see how it deviates and what happens as we go forward. So thank you guys for joining me, and I'll see you next time.